bullied for being too talented. Former classmate reveals Jungkook's painful school days, broken heart. It's hard to imagine that one of the most adored faces in the world, the voice that conquered charts, the performer who left stadiums trembling, was once a boy sitting alone in a classroom, fighting back tears he couldn't show. But behind the perfection, behind the stage lights and camera flashes, lies a truth that even the most loyal fans might find difficult to accept. According to a shocking confession that has recently surfaced, Jungkook of BTS, now ranked number 4 in the top 100 most handsome faces of K-pop 2025, endured something darker than fame could ever erase. Before he became a global superstar, he was a dreamer who was bullied for being too talented. The revelation came unexpectedly. A former classmate of Jungkook's from Busan recently shared an emotional statement online, detailing the silent cruelty that followed Jungkook during his early school years. He was different, the classmate admitted. Too good, too talented. Even back then, he could sing, dance, draw, everything. And because of that, people didn't know how to treat him. Some admired him, others hated him for it. The word spread across online communities within hours, setting off an emotional storm among fans worldwide. Could it really be that the golden magne, loved by millions, was once an outcast for simply daring to be extraordinary? The classmate continued, explaining that Jungkook's dreams of becoming a singer were often mocked by his peers. He'd come to school tired, always training, always chasing something bigger. Kids called him names behind his back. They said he was delusional, that he'd never make it. But he just smiled and said, "You'll see me on TV one day." He said it quietly, like a promise he'd already made to himself. That line, "You'll see me on TV one day," now echoes like prophecy. Today, he isn't just on TV. He is TV, radio, billboards, global headlines, and history itself. But that doesn't erase what he went through. If anything, it makes it more heartbreaking to realize that the same boy who brings light to millions once walked through darkness completely alone. What's more haunting is how consistent this story is with the timeline of Jungkook's rise. His journey from Busan to Seoul was not a fairy tale. He was only 14 when he left home to train under Big Hit, leaving behind the city that never truly accepted him. Back then, BTS didn't exist. The company was small, almost unknown, and Jungkook had to make a decision that most adults would hesitate to make: leave everything behind for a dream no one believed in but him. That decision, now immortalized in BTS's story, came at a price that fans are only beginning to understand. The classmate recalled how, after Jungkook's departure, his absence was discussed more than his presence ever was. Some of them said, "He'll come back when he fails." But he never did. He never looked back. In hindsight, the revelation of his painful school experience sheds new light on Jungkook's reserved personality, his quiet strength, and the deep emotional layers he often hides behind his bright smile. It might explain why, even at the peak of his fame, he sometimes seems introspective, as if carrying an invisible weight that never truly leaves. Fans have often noticed the duality in Jungkook, the playful boy who laughs easily and the quiet artist who drifts into his thoughts when the world stops watching. Perhaps that's not a coincidence. Perhaps it's a scar, one that shaped the artist he became. Even now, as BTS continues to dominate global charts despite their ongoing military service hiatus, Jungkook's name never stops trending. His number 4 ranking in the top 100 most handsome faces of K-pop 2025 is more than a title. It's a symbol of how far he's come. From a bullied student in Busan to one of the most recognizable faces on the planet, his journey is a testament to resilience. The irony is impossible to ignore. The same qualities that made him a target, his confidence, his beauty, his natural talent, are now the very things that define him as one of the greatest idols of his generation. The confession from his former classmate reignited a wave of emotion within the BTS fandom. Fans flooded social media with messages of love and support, trending hashtags like #WeLoveYouJungkook and #ProudOfYouJK. Many shared personal stories of how Jungkook's perseverance inspired them to endure their own battles with bullying, loneliness, and self-doubt. It became more than a story about a celebrity. It became a mirror reflecting the struggles of countless people who were once made to feel too much for the world around them. The timing of this revelation is almost poetic. As of mid-2025, BTS has completed their military enlistments, marking the end of a historic era of separation. Their hiatus, which began in 2022 and extended through each member's enlistment by 2023, has left a void in the music industry. Yet, even during their absence, the group's influence has only grown stronger. Jungkook's solo success, his fashion impact, and his undeniable global appeal have proven that his light cannot be dimmed. Not by distance, not by silence, not even by time. His ability to dominate charts while serving his country reflects the level of dedication and excellence that only he could embody. It's as if the universe has conspired to balance the pain of his past with the triumph of his present. Meanwhile, the K-pop landscape has shifted dramatically. New groups have emerged, hungry for recognition, determined to fill the space BTS momentarily left behind. Among them, the rookie group AHOF has taken the spotlight with their explosive debut EP Who We Are, selling 369,850 copies in its first week, a number that startled even industry veterans. Their member JL, now ranked number 3 in the same top 100 list, symbolizes the rise of a new generation inspired by BTS's legacy. But even with these newcomers rising fast, none can replicate the emotional depth that Jungkook's story carries. His journey isn't just about fame. It's about endurance, transformation, and the quiet revenge of success. Interestingly, fans have begun to connect the dots between Jungkook's history of being misunderstood and his later artistic evolution. Songs like Still With You, My Time, and Standing Next to You are now being reinterpreted as emotional responses to his early experiences, the loneliness, the isolation, the burning desire to prove himself. When he sings, it's like he's still speaking to that younger version of himself, one fan wrote in an emotional post. The one who had to sit alone at lunch, the one who everyone doubted, the one who believed even when no one else did. As Jungkook's story continues to unfold, his past feels less like a shadow and more like a foundation. Every moment of rejection seems to have built the empathy he carries now, the quiet way he supports his members, the humble way he accepts praise, the soft way he interacts with fans. His success was never born from luck. It was carved from loneliness, discipline, and an almost superhuman sense of purpose. Perhaps that's what makes him so magnetic, the knowledge that beneath the glamour lies a boy who once felt like he didn't belong anywhere. In truth, the story of Jungkook's bullying is not just a revelation, it's a reminder. A reminder that even the brightest stars are forged in pressure, that even global icons start as fragile souls with trembling dreams. And in Jungkook's case, it's a reminder that talent, no matter how misunderstood, always finds its way to the surface. As the BTS era prepares to reignite post-military, with whispers of new projects and reunions filling fan spaces, this revelation about Jungkook adds another emotional layer to the group's legacy. The same boy who once faced cruelty for daring to sing now stands as proof that no amount of ridicule can silence true passion. His past pain doesn't diminish his greatness. It defines it in a world obsessed with perfection. Jungkook's story feels painfully human. The boy who was too talented for his peers became the man who inspired millions to embrace their own uniqueness. And now, as he stands shoulder to shoulder with legends, one can't help but think back to that quiet classroom in Busan, where a boy once whispered to himself, "You'll see me on TV one day." He was right. The world did see him. And it hasn't looked away since. The world knows Jungkook as the golden boy of K-pop, a flawless performer, a voice that can silence stadiums, and a face that never fails to trend across every platform. But behind that perfection lies a story most fans were never meant to hear, a story that began long before the bright lights, the fame, or the screams of millions. It started in the quiet, lonely halls of a classroom, where a young boy with a dream was punished for shining too brightly. A former classmate's confession has resurfaced online, and it's tearing through social media like wildfire. The words are simple, but their weight is shattering. Jungkook was bullied because he was too talented. The post, first shared anonymously on a Korean forum before spreading to international fan pages, paints a heartbreaking picture of a boy who dared to dream in a world that didn't know how to accept him. The source claims to have attended the same middle school as Jungkook in Busan, describing him as quiet, focused, and unbelievably gifted, the kind of kid who made everything look effortless. But that effortless talent, instead of earning admiration, made him a target. Some kids couldn't stand how good he was at everything, the classmate wrote. They said he was showing off when all he did was practice harder than anyone else. The confession continues, describing days when Jungkook would stay in the music room after class, singing alone while the rest of the students went home. He never complained, never reacted when people mocked him, but you could tell it hurt him. He just kept singing. Fans who have followed Jungkook's rise know that his perfection was not built overnight. His incredible dance lines, smooth vocals, and magnetic stage presence are products of endless practice, the kind of work ethic forged by pain and perseverance. But few realize that his journey began not with applause, but with whispers, jealousy, and isolation. As the post circulated, fans began piecing together old footage, interviews, and live clips that suddenly took on new meaning. In one 2018 interview, Jungkook mentioned offhandedly that he used to be quiet and shy in school because he didn't want to stand out. At the time, fans thought he was being modest. Now, it reads like a quiet confession of someone who had once learned that standing out came at a cost. And another moment, during AV Live broadcast years ago, Jungkook laughed as he told fans, "I wasn't really popular in school. I just liked singing." He smiled when he said it, but fans now wonder what was behind that smile. When the former classmate's confession reached international media, it sparked a storm of emotions. Armies flooded platforms like X, formerly Twitter, and TikTok with emotional tributes, photos, and heartfelt messages tagged #WeLoveYouJungkook and #YouDeserveBetter. Within hours, the hashtags had surpassed 5 million tweets, dominating the global trending list. One viral post read, "You see confidence now, but you don't see the years it took him to rebuild what others tried to destroy." Another fan wrote, "He wasn't just born the golden magne, he became him, piece by piece, after surviving a world that tried to dim his light." What makes the story even more haunting is the timing. Jungkook's name has been lighting up the internet again after ranking number 4 in the top 100 most handsome faces of K-pop 2025, proving that even while serving his military duty, his influence remains unshaken. His fellow BTS members also continue to dominate the list, Jeon at number 5, V at number 2, and Jimin at number 1, showing the group's enduring global presence even in their hiatus. But now, as this story of his school days surfaces, fans are reminded that behind the glamour and accolades, there is still a human story, one of pain, resilience, and triumph. The same classmate added, "There was one day when Jungkook didn't show up for school. People said he was auditioning in Seoul. When he came back, he looked tired but also different, like he had finally found something bigger than all of us. I think that's when he decided he wouldn't let this place define him." It's no secret that Jungkook was scouted by multiple entertainment agencies after his audition on Superstar K in 2011. But few realize that his decision to join Big Hit Entertainment, a then-small company struggling to survive, was one of courage and instinct. He turned down larger agencies because he said he felt something sincere in Bang Si-hyuk's words. That choice changed the course of K-pop forever. Perhaps that's the poetic justice in all of this. The boy who was once mocked for dreaming too big became the man who redefined what global superstardom could look like. The same humility that made him an outsider in school became his greatest weapon on stage. The quiet confidence, the perfectionism, the hunger to prove himself through performance, not words. Now, fans are revisiting moments from BTS's early days with new eyes. The way Jungkook would often hang back during interviews, how he'd shyly deflect compliments, how he'd sometimes tear up when talking about the members' support. Every smile now seems deeper, every laugh a little braver. Even HYB has remained silent about the resurfaced claims, refusing to confirm or deny them. It's not uncommon. Agencies rarely comment on personal stories that predate an artist's debut, but their silence has only fueled the emotional storm. Some fans believe the company is respecting Jungkook's privacy. Others think it's an acknowledgement that there's truth buried in the story. Meanwhile, journalists and analysts are calling the revelation a wake-up call for the darker side of South Korea's competitive culture. Talent, they argue, can sometimes breed resentment in tightly pressured environments, and stories like Jungkook's expose how fragile young dreams can be before fame shields them. And yet, if anything, Jungkook's journey proves that pain can be alchemized into purpose. Every stage performance, every song, every record-breaking achievement now feels like a triumph over those early voices that tried to silence him.